And welcome back to part 2 of this 3-part series on your first charter. The next section on the form is rigging. With the shrouds, we're looking for equal tension between the port and starboard sides, which you can see me doing here. If you notice one side is extremely loose, that is an issue and you should not go out. Let us know so we can check and make adjustments. Now let's check the overall condition. Granted, you can't see that far up, but we can check to see if there are any breaks in the cables or fish hooks. These look good, and go ahead and check that off. Since we are here, let's check the turnbuckles and swages for cracks. Moving on, we have the forestay and the backstay. With the forestay, we can't check its overall condition because of the furling system, but we can check its attachment point to the bow. That looks good. So let's move on to the backstay. Now, I don't know if you've noticed, but there's this boom, boom sound going on in the background. Well, that's building in the city. Additionally, there's some other people doing boat work here, so you're going to hear some other noises. So I apologize about that. So we just checked the forestay. Now we're going to take a look at the backstay. Unlike the forestay, there's a lot we can see here. So one of the first things that we want to check are these attachment points. We're going to make sure these clevis pins are in. They're attached right in here. It's running through a block. Checking the pins there as well. And at the same time, we're checking for any chafing or wearing of these lines that could cause it to snap. Everything looks good. Now on a heavy wind day, we're going to tighten this backstay. On a light wind day, it's going to be lighter. For leaving the dock, I like to tension the backstay, so as I push off the dock and get onto the boat, I have something nice and firm to hang on to. Also, while I'm maneuvering down the channel and going out to sail, this is a nice thing to grab other than this. All right, let's move on. So we've checked our forestay and our backstay. Now we're going to move on to our jib sheets and our fair lead blocks. So let's start right up here with the jib sheets. What I'm going to do is I'm going to check them for any chafing or wear that could cause a break. I have them right here, just running my hands down. Obviously I do the other side as well. Running my hands down, everything looks good. Excellent. Feeling the line. Cam cleat. Just feeling the line here. This is what the beginning of chafe would look like. It's not a significant amount of wear, so that's not a big deal. Looks good. And stopper knot at the end. So now we can move on to the blocks. Attachment is good. Reel works. Car moves, looks excellent. Follow it back down to here. No cracks. Looks really good. And obviously I would check everything on the other side. So let's go ahead and check this stuff off on the list and we can move on to the next part. The next thing we're going to move on to is the main sheet. And through the magic of editing, I'm going to get this sail cover removed first. So we've removed the main sheet from the sail cover. Just like the jib sheets, we're going to check it for chafe. First area you want to check is right in through here. Looks good. Check the block. Make sure it's pinned with a ring. Follow it down through here. Check this block. Make sure your cam cleat works. And then just check the rest of it for any possible chafe or breaking points or any additional knots that may have formed. Looks good. I'm going to recoil this, put it back, and then we're going to move on to the main halyard. So here we are at the main halyard. This is normally where we put it when we put the boat to bed. Now usually I would inspect this when I'm attaching it to the head of the sail and doing the pre-feeding. But on your form, in the rigging section, is main halyard. So we're going to take a look at it right now because that's where it is on your form. First thing I want to check is the shackle, which is right here. Make sure I can open that easily. And I'm inspecting the pin, make sure the key's not broken off. Put that back in, make sure it locks. It does. Looks really good. So like I said, normally I would then take this to the head of the sail, but since we're going to do some sail inspection, I'm going to go ahead and just put it right back here. So on the Andrews 21, we have two sails. We have our head sail and we have our main. Now in an ideal world, we could inspect our jib by rolling it out. But because it's pretty windy here and we don't want a gust to come through and tear this sail off unexpectedly, we're gonna have to inspect it on the water. So when you get on the water, just roll it out, look it up and down for any tears or loose threading. If you come across a tear, roll it back up, bring the boat back into us, and we can either switch out a head sail or put you on another boat. So now let's move on to how we inspect the mainsail. So here we are at the mainsail. Unlike the jib, we can actually inspect this here at the dock. And you can do it one of two ways. If you're planning on putting reefs in, you're going to dump the sail down anyway. So go through the inspection process and inspect the reefing system at the same time. For inspecting the sail, we want to check the luff, the leech, the foot, see if there's any fraying or broken in any way there. Also check the entire sail for any rips, tears, or stitching that's come loose that could lead to a tear. If you're not putting a reef in, well, dump the whole sail down, reflake it, and do the inspection process while you're reflaking the sail. Check the sail, check the reefing system. So with that done, now what we can do is get the main halyard and attach it to the head of the sail and do our pre-feed. So just get this bad boy back on here. Of course, it went a lot faster while we were practicing this. And grab your halyard. Good. Now here's a little trick. Once you have that in and you're happy with it, instead of tying it off down below, which you're going to have to untie to raise the main, just take her here, come around your jib sheet, cam cleat, lock that in. It's a cheat, but it really works. Just make sure nobody trips on it. So now you can head out. When you're ready, get your crew member here to raise. Good raising position. Grab that. I can see what's going on. Raise the main, and then go down below and tie it off correctly. All right, let's check that stuff off, and now we'll move on. So for Coast Guard safety equipment, in the bucket you should find a horn, or it's really technically a whistle, but it acts as your sound signal device. Also in there is a flashlight. Make sure that actually works. You're also going to make sure that you have PFDs for everybody on board. Each boat comes with 4. There should also be a throwable flotation device. In this case, it is a seat cushion, but it is, if you look at the very top, it's Coast Guard approved as a throwable device. There should also be a fire extinguisher right here. And not all boats have this, but this happens to be a signal device. It's a flag. It means you're in distress and you can fly this. That is all that needs to be on the boat for the Coast Guard. Also in the bucket, you should find a first aid kit and also the bilge pump handle. And finally, there should be another little bucket, which is right here, just in case you need to bail some water out. Now we're going to take a look at our fenders and our dock lines. Right down here are our fenders. We have 2 of those. The quantity is 2, but let's also inspect them, make sure they're not flat. And if they're already tied on with a round turn and 2 half hitches, change that to a clove hitch. Once you clear the marina, it's going to be a lot easier to remove it. Also, when you're coming back in, put a clove hitch on. So both fenders look good. let's inspect the dock lines. What we're looking for is chafe. Okay, we got a little chafe right here. It's not going to bust the line, but I would probably write that down, so feel free. And then we'll do the same thing with the last dock line. Okay, we got some chafe here, but it's not at a tie-off point. I would still write it down. That's what the comment section's for, to note if there's anything wrong with the equipment. We can take a look at it and see if we need to replace it. In part 3, the final part of your first charter, we're going to cover tying the boat off correctly, the check-in form, and putting the boat to bed. But also, before you push off, make sure you get that check-in form into a dry bag. You don't want to come back, have a soaked piece of paper, and not be able to fill it out. So anyway, we're going to see you in the next video and finish this up.